The guidance in this video is correct as of the 17th of August 2020. Updates to this information will be shared on the Trust and Academy websites. As the coronavirus lockdown is eased, we recognise that our trusts and academies need to return to normal operations and adapt to new ways of working. We've been working hard to make our buildings safe for reopening, and we've prepared this short presentation to explain the changes and new ways of learning and working with us. We're looking forward to welcoming all staff and pupils back to school this autumn, and trust that this update will give you an overview of the measures in place and how we expect everyone to work together to keep each other as safe as possible. We appreciate that these are unusual times, and you will have missed being in school. However, we ask that you pay particular attention to this guidance. A full copy of our risk assessment can be found on our website. Anyone who feels unwell or experiences symptoms of COVID-19, such as a new persistent cough, high temperature, difficulty breathing, or loss of smell and taste, will need to go home as soon as possible, and arrangements for this will be made with staff and parents. Parents will be expected to collect their child immediately. If a pupil is awaiting collection, they'll be moved to the allocated room where they can be isolated behind a closed door. Anyone sent home must follow the stay-at-home guidance for households with possible or confirmed cases of COVID-19. They must self-isolate and arrange to have a test as soon as possible. The test result must be shared with the school. We've introduced the following measures: staggering the start and end times of the day, breaks and lunches, allocated entrances and exits for pupils and staff, using year group bubbles and zones to minimise the number of staff and pupils mixing. Bubbles will have their own classrooms and toilets, and pupils will not be able to meet in school with pupils outside of their bubble. Pupils will spend the majority of their day in the same classroom. Teachers will be allocated to each bubble, and staff will only move where absolutely necessary to ensure curriculum delivery. There are one-way systems around the site and social distancing reminders. We expect pupils and staff wherever possible to maintain social distancing at all times. Staff must maintain 2 metres social distancing between each other. We appreciate that for staff and pupils this will feel different, but it's crucial that these measures are in place to keep everyone safe. The use of bubbles for our pupils and staff to learn and work in will be essential. Each bubble will be provided with hand sanitizer, tissues and wipes. We've explored various approaches from the UK and beyond, and, in consultation with government guidance, we've determined that the safest approach is to work as much as possible within an assigned space. This will limit your social interaction and exposure to touchpoints. Regular cleaning of touchpoints and welfare facilities will take place throughout the day. If you have any questions, you can contact your pastoral leader for pupils and the principal or business manager for staff. Pupils and staff are reminded that they must wash their hands for 20 seconds with soap at regular intervals during the day, especially before eating food. Education is not optional, and all pupils are required to attend. Our attendance teams will be monitoring attendance as normal. It's the duty of parents to make sure that their child attends every day unless they have symptoms, are self-isolating following government guidance, or have a positive COVID-19 test result. While we are taking these stringent additional measures, we would like to remind pupils and staff to play their part. You must not come to school or work if you have symptoms. This includes a fever, loss of smell or taste, or a new and persistent cough. Pupils must not arrive at school before their allocated time and must go home immediately at the end of the day. In line with government guidance, pupils must not wait around before or after school at or near the school gates, and should not at any time wait around in groups in the community. Wash your hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, or use a hand sanitizer when you arrive at home or the school, when blowing your nose, sneezing or coughing, after exercise, visiting the toilet, or before eating and handling food. You must follow good respiratory hygiene, including catch it, bin it, kill it. Avoid touching your eyes, nose and mouth with unwashed hands. Cover coughs or sneezes with a tissue or your sleeve, then throw the tissue in a bin and wash your hands. Open door handles using a clean tissue or paper towel, and dispose of the towel properly in a bin afterwards. Sanitize work equipment such as computer keyboards and telephones with antibacterial surface wipes before and after use. Avoid gathering or congregating in groups, and observe the social distancing signage, floor markings, and directional signage at all times. We expect all staff, pupils and parents to actively participate in the government track and trace scheme. Staff and parents must inform the school of any COVID-19 test results. There are some subjects where pupils will need to think differently. For example, changing facilities for PE will be closed, so pupils will need to wear their PE kit for the day on the days when they have PE. Equipment will not be shared unless cleaned. Therefore, pupils must bring their own pen, pencil and ruler to school. In some subjects, activities will be demonstrated, and pupils will not use the equipment to limit the risk of infection. Plexiglass barriers will be installed at all counter services, including reception, and eating venues where people may otherwise stand closer than the recommended safe social distance. We'll conduct all communication with parents by email, text message, or phone call. Parents can only visit the school by making an arranged appointment by booking this on the phone in advance. Access to school will not be provided to anyone arriving without an appointment. When queuing or waiting in line, pupils, staff and parents should stand back from the counter and observe the social distancing floor markings. When passing on the stairs or corridor, always walk on the left. Staff should keep 8 steps apart. Be respectful of others and keep 2 meters apart. Classrooms have been set up in order to provide appropriate social distancing where possible. Do not sit at desks marked with a cross or a "Do not sit here" sign, and do not rearrange furniture. At the appropriate allocated time that pupils and staff can go and get lunch, cashless systems will be operated wherever possible. Pupils and staff must sanitize their hands before using the cashless payment system, and after use before eating. Where possible, colleagues and pupils will be encouraged not to print documents and operate a paperless system. Those handling cash and resources should wear disposable gloves. Library book lending facilities will not be available. Our approach to additional PPE in line with the school's COVID-19 risk assessment is that the use of additional PPE for the significant majority is not required as an infection control measure while at work. The use of a face covering is a matter of individual choice. Anyone choosing to use a face covering must follow the government's advice. Staff will wear a face covering when giving first aid. We'll continue to provide first aid assistance whilst at school for pupils and staff if required. However, because of social distancing, first aid assistance may not be provided in the normal way because of the risk of first aiders contracting coronavirus. We encourage everyone to minimise their use of public transport. Instead, walking or cycling where possible. When using a private vehicle to make a journey, cars should only be shared by members of the same household. Where there is a need to use public transport, face coverings must be worn, and a facility for disposing of these will be available at our entrances. Social distancing should be taken into consideration, staying 2 metres away from others, and avoiding touching surfaces wherever possible. Parents, pupils and staff must be ready and willing, if necessary, to book a test if they or their child have symptoms, provide details of anyone they've been in close contact with if asked by NHS Track and Trace, self-isolate if they've been in close contact with someone who tests positive for COVID-19, or if anyone in their household develops symptoms. We'll be working with the Public Health Protection Team, and, should the need arise, we'll follow their guidance regarding sending pupils and staff home to self-isolate. Parents must regularly monitor communication from our schools, should the need arise to take swift action following a positive case. Also, due to the current situation, please note the following. Pupils will not be taking books home. Staff will provide live feedback in lessons and will not be marking work. Pupils who have to learn from home due to symptoms or a positive case will be provided with remote learning work to complete at home. Fire is one of the greatest safety risks to our school. Should the evacuation alarm sound, we would ask that you move immediately to the assembly point. You should continue to respect social distancing and follow the instructions of staff. All staff, visitors and contractors should sign in and out when entering and leaving the building. Pupils will be registered in their lessons throughout the day. And finally, our immediate focus is on preparing to extend our school opening. It's important that we all recognise that the way we work as a school community has changed, and some of these changes are long-term. Everyone has a role to play in keeping us COVID safe. Please make sure you follow these instructions at all times.